Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. I'm trying to save the world from Britney Spears. So I wrote about Britney's erratic driving last week because it was very, very problematic. Clearly something is not going well with her. That is overly stating the obvious. We all know that when you're dancing around naked with knives, surrounded by dog crap, you may not be in the best place in your life. I was one of those people who very adamantly fought for her freedom from the conservatorship. I thought it was oppressive, unconstitutional, overbearing, probably unlawful. It was just too much that every aspect of her life was controlled. And I blame the entire system. I blame controlling people. I blame power-hungry money lovers who wanted access to everything that she could provide for controlling her within an inch of her life, which just made her even crazier than she was to begin with in 2007. Obviously, she has deeper issues that have probably been diagnosed and treated and self-medicated, and we cannot imagine what those things are. That is not the point of all of this. I want people to be free. I want people to thrive. I want people to be happy. And of course, I am so deeply moved by her story and the fact that there have been so many people who've piled on over the years, and that she doesn't have a regular relationship with her sons who are now like 18 and 20. And that's tragic. It's heartbreaking. And that heartbreak has compounded whatever roiling mess is always bubbling inside of her for whatever reason. Maybe she has a genetic predisposition to psychological distress. Maybe she was abused as a child. Maybe she was just taken advantage of and, wasn't really allowed to individuate and socialize as a teenager. You just want to be normal, to make mistakes and learn from them and grow and move on. And when you become famous so early, that becomes an impossibility. So given all of that, and there's a lot on her shoulders, we have to, at some point, put some of the responsibility on her. And that's what I was trying to do in my Daily Mail article last week, was just to say, I fought for someone not to be taken advantage of in a conservatorship, but at the same time, you cannot get on the road like that. And I don't know what the like that was. I was not there. I don't know if she had put some substance in her body that took her out of a stable mental state, because she was clearly very unstable and very erratic. And there has to be some force in her life, and it doesn't have to be government force, although it will if she keeps driving like that and she gets her license suspended, or, God forbid. The greatest worry watching someone like that is she's, swerving in and out of lanes. She's crossing the double line. She's making those crazy ass U-turns. She is going to smack into a bus full of special needs kids or a minivan full of old people coming back from a church function, and she's going to kill everybody. And all the crazy free Britney people who get activated when anyone dares say, maybe she shouldn't be doing this, then, we are demonized and threatened and we become the problem. Well, I will tell you, I am not the problem here. I am merely the humble servant who is trying day in and day out to save the world, especially Britney's world right now. And I don't believe that she is the victim of Kevin Federline's memoir. Of course, he's going to try and capitalize and make money off of their relationship when the child support checks stop. And that's what happened. The moment that Jaden turned 18, he was like, oh, no more free money every month? I guess it's time to pull the trigger with that publisher. And, till you thought you knew. Ooh, Kevin. And I'm sure there are horrible things that happened during their marriage. That was a long, long time ago. Not that she's really grown or changed. I think she went through an unholy hell with a conservatorship, but she certainly hasn't done herself any favors on the other side. So I don't buy this idea that she was so overcome with the fear of what might be in those pages that, she had to party and go nuts and twirl around in that Thousand Oaks restaurant, toasting the entire restaurant, spinning around, knocking things over because she's worried about K-Fed. That's not what you do when you're 43.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
When you're 43, you don't act out every time something worries you. You have to, at some point, even if she is in the throes of mental illness, you still have to sit down and contemplate and use your resources to better yourself. And for her, I don't know what that means. I'm not Dr. Drew. Does it mean going away to a psychological and treatment rehab for 3 months? That would probably be a good start. But, the fear is being as unstable as she has been for so long that she is going to spin out of control like she was twirling in that restaurant, and she is either going to drive off a cliff and she is going to kill herself, or worse, and it is much worse, to take the lives of innocent people because you have lost control of your urges and your abilities. And if that's where she's at, then unfortunately, I hate to say it, but something has to give here before she takes someone else's life. And for those of you who claim to love and adore and protect Britney Spears, you should be the loudest ones saying, this is unacceptable, because she's either going to kill someone else, or she's going to kill someone else, she's going to kill herself, and that will be her legacy. Or she's going to kill a bunch of other people, she's going to survive, and she will either be a vegetable or she will be incarcerated. And then you're never going to free Britney if she goes down for vehicular homicide. And there is intent behind it. When people are begging you not to get in your car because you are clearly in a state where you cannot drive, and even if that state, that deteriorated state, has nothing to do with drugs or alcohol or anything else, if you are so mentally unwell that you cannot operate a vehicle, then come hell or high water, no one around her should have allowed her to drive, knowing what could happen in the blink of an eye and how quickly lives could be ruined because of her impulsivity. So yes, if you want to free Britney, then stand up and say something right now, because it's not cute. She's not in her 20s. She's become that friend. It's adorable when you're peeing outside and barfing all over yourself at a bachelorette party. It is not cute when you've lost pretty much everything and everyone around you. You can't continue to blame the other people in your life who have taken advantage of you when you are the one at the center of every chaotic catastrophe. And that's where she is. And that is the reality that if you are a Britney fan, then it is incumbent upon you to confront that, to admit that, because it is going to end tragically, and it doesn't have to. I do not believe that this woman is she's past the point of no return. I believe that redemption and salvation and healing are possible. Does that mean, she lives a normal suburban life? No, probably not. But does it mean that she can, through a lot of hard work, introspection, therapy, and healing, get to a place where she is, dare I say, thriving? Of course it's possible. But people have to have expectations. And those expectations have to be coupled with accountability. And your expectations for Britney now are so low, and there are so few people in her life who demand accountability, that when those two things dissolve, all you're left with is tragedy. And I hope we are not there. Britney, I still believe we can save your world. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.